While he never wore a cape or flew through the skies, John Wayne is remembered as a hero, the kind of man your grandfather looked up to. But there was a secret John carried throughout his whole career, a quiet frustration with some of the most gorgeous women in Hollywood. Back in 1979, secluded in his wind-beaten beach house, this legend made one final purge. He named 5 actresses, once worshipped for their beauty. But instead of praise, he called them the worst in bed. Trust me, these names will forever change the way you see these silver screen legends. Chapter 5. Esperanza Bauer. Back in 1979, the legendary hero was sitting on a chair at his small beach house in Newport. The wind outside rattled the glass, and John, no longer the towering cowboy, looked tired. He was sick. The cancer had crept into his lungs, and the swagger that carried him through 100 films had given way to something quieter. He wasn't reaching for a rifle or mounting a horse. He was nursing a drink, watching the waves roll in, and reflecting on the women who'd left marks deeper than bullets ever could. He started with Esperanza Bauer. He called her Chata. The name came out like a bruise he'd gotten used to pressing. She was his second wife, a Mexican actress with too much fire in her for her own good, or his. If Marlene Dietrich was cold, Chata was the kind of heat that burned through walls. Wayne once said loving her felt like lighting dynamite and hoping it turned into a candle. He met her when his career was still soaring. She was wild, impulsive, and magnetic. And for a guy who'd built his life around control, that kind of chaos looked like freedom. He thought he was bringing passion into his home. What he brought in was a storm. And when the bedroom door closed, things only got worse. To the public, she was enchanting. But behind closed doors, she unraveled. Not because she didn't care, because she cared like a madwoman, possessive, unpredictable, and never at peace. Wayne said most nights didn't start with love, they started with suspicion. He'd come home from set, dead on his feet, and she'd be waiting. Not with a kiss, but with accusations and shouting. Sometimes she'd throw things. Sometimes she'd just sit there, boiling, waiting for him to say the wrong word. Once, in the middle of an intimate moment, she froze up and slapped him across the face because she swore he'd looked at another actress that day. He said being with her felt like crawling into bed with a lit fuse. "You don't feel desire when you're waiting to be hit," he muttered. "You feel like you're about to be ambushed." The worst part wasn't the shouting or the violence. It was how she used love like a weapon. 1 minute seductive, the next explosive. She didn't want closeness. She wanted control. Wayne said the bedroom became a place where he had to defend himself, not physically, but emotionally, minute by minute. And yes, she once pulled a gun on him. He was late coming home. That's all it took. He said being with her felt like war. 7 years of walking on glass. She was beautiful, he admitted, but I've never seen someone twist love into something so cruel. He paused, looked down at his glass, and said quietly, "I'd rather sleep in a barn than next to a lady who sees me as the enemy." Chapter 4. Gail Russell. If Esperanza was a firestorm, Gail was something far more complicated. A ghost you could touch but never reach. Sitting in that old armchair, watching the fireplace flicker low, John's voice changed when he spoke her name. There wasn't anger this time, just a slow exhale that sounded like regret. "Gail," he muttered. She wasn't dangerous. She was just lost. She had the kind of face that made people quiet. Pale, soft eyes heavy with some grief no one could name. When they met filming Angel and the Bad Man in 1947, she was barely in her 20s. She shook when the cameras rolled, and every time it was Wayne who steadied her. What started as protection turned into something deeper, but what grew between them didn't feel like love. It felt like trying to carry someone uphill in the dark. Gail wasn't reckless like Chata. She was simply drowning, slowly. And Wayne, for all his strength, couldn't pull her to the surface. In private, she drank. She wasn't violent or cruel, just numb. He said she'd reach for the bottle like it was a blanket, something to keep the fear away. But it stole her from him instead. Most nights, she wasn't fully there. Her body might have been in his arms, but her soul was miles away, frozen somewhere she wouldn't let him near. Wayne said making love to Gail felt more like holding someone mid-fall. "She never looked at me," he whispered. "Not really. Her eyes were always fixed on something else, something broken inside her. Sometimes she'd cry without saying a word. Other times, she'd just lay still, eyes open, and breath shallow, like she was trying to disappear beneath the sheets." He said he felt like an intruder in those moments, like someone trespassing in a place meant to stay untouched. And yet he stayed. He tried to help her quit, hid the bottles, held her while she trembled through withdrawal, but it never stuck. Her sadness was a tide too strong. "I didn't need wild nights," he said. "I just needed someone to be there with me, and she couldn't." After every night, he felt more hollow. There was no passion, only guilt. He wasn't angry at her. He was angry at the helplessness, at watching someone with so much beauty crumble from the inside out. He said it was like tending a flower that wouldn't bloom, no matter how gentle your hands were. When she died at 36 due to alcohol poisoning, he didn't cry. He'd already done that while she was alive. "Gail was an angel," Wayne said softly, "but one who never wanted to fly. In the end, all I ever held was her shadow." It's just tragic. Chapter 3. Susan Hayward. This name on our list might not raise eyebrows, but its story is anything but boring. The red hair, the sharp voice, the stare that warned you not to get too close unless you came ready for a fight. John Wayne said her name with a long breath, like someone remembering a storm that took days to pass. He wasn't angry. He was just worn out. They met on The Conqueror in 1956. Both were huge stars. Both had built careers on being the strong one in the room. So when they collided, it wasn't passion. It was a deadlock. Wayne said the attraction was real, sure, but it was the kind that burns too fast and leaves nothing behind but smoke. She didn't want to be kissed, he said. She wanted control. That's what stuck with him. In private, Susan didn't soften. She leaned harder. She always had to prove she was in charge, even in the most intimate moments. Wayne didn't know how to respond. He liked to lead, but Susan refused to follow, and that ruined everything. Being with her wasn't about love, it was about winning. She turned every touch into a test. Every time he reached for her, she pushed back. Not out of fear, out of habit. She treated the bedroom like a ring. If you weren't on guard, you were going to lose. "I couldn't even breathe the way I wanted," he said. "She made me feel like I had to wrestle my own body." Wayne wasn't looking for a wall. He was looking for a woman. Someone who could make him feel human after long days under the sun, after scenes that drained him to the bone. But Susan brought more heat. When he wanted to slow down, she sped up. When he tried to take his time, she twisted it into a challenge. It wasn't love, he said. It was a contest. And no one ever won. He said the worst part wasn't the tension. It was how loud it all felt. Even in silence, there was this pressure in the room, like something was about to snap. And eventually, it did. Not with a scream, just with exhaustion. He stopped trying to fix it. She stopped pretending it was working. He finished his drink slowly, eyes on the fireplace, voice low. "Susan was too much like me," he said. "And two people like that, neither one ever lets go." He didn't call her cruel. He didn't blame her for the way things went. But he was honest. She wasn't built for softness, and he didn't need another war. She was a fire I couldn't put out, he said, and I got tired of burning. Chapter 2. Marlene Dietrich. At his peak, no one was as closely associated with America as John, but even the Duke had his moments of regret. One of them wore pearls, carried the accent of old Europe, and moved as if every spotlight belonged to her. Her name was Marlene. To the world, she was elegance, legs that stopped traffic, a voice like smoke. To John Wayne, at first, she was something out of a fantasy. They met on set in 1940. He was still building his legend. She was already a star draped in silk and power. Wayne admitted without shame that he was mesmerized. She didn't just walk into a room, she owned it. And when she turned her gaze on him, he swore the air got heavier. But lust has a short memory, and the truth doesn't stay hidden long. Behind closed doors, Marlene was less woman, more performance. Wayne described the first time they were intimate as surreal, not because it was passionate, but because it felt staged. She was too aware of her angles, too focused on the lighting. He said it felt like sharing a bed with someone filming a perfume commercial. She'd pause mid-moment to fluff a pillow, adjust her hair, or shift the nightlight so her cheekbones would catch the glow. It wasn't love. It was choreography. She was built like a goddess, Wayne recalled, but she made me feel like a camera stand. He never felt truly seen. Every touch was rehearsed. Every kiss felt like it had gone through 3 takes. There was nothing real. He said it was like eating the most beautifully plated dish, only to realize there wasn't a single bit of flavor in it. He wasn't looking for a show. He wanted a woman, flawed and breathing, who could lose herself in the moment. With Marlene, everything was calculated, even the size. She was polished to the point of lifelessness, he said, and it drained him. After every night, he didn't feel satisfied. He felt tired, not from passion, but from pretending. He had to match her rhythm, follow her imaginary script. I wasn't making love, he said. I was part of her act. Wayne didn't deny that she was skilled, but skill without soul, it left him cold, too cold. She treated intimacy like a scene to perfect, he murmured, not something to feel. In the end, he called her an expensive lesson, proof that beauty means nothing if there's no warmth behind it. She sparkled like crystal, he said, but she cut like it too. He sipped his drink and looked out the window. People still talk about her legs, he muttered. But to me, she's just a ghost in a silk robe, cold as ice, and I'd never walk into that memory again. Chapter 1. Joan Crawford. He took a long sip of bourbon before saying her name. The liquor burned going down, but not nearly as much as the memory. Joan Crawford, John Wayne said, letting the words hang in the air. There was no anger in his voice, just something colder, like someone recalling a deal they should have never signed. She wasn't soft. She wasn't sweet. She was all edges and ambition. In Hollywood, Joan Crawford was royalty, unstoppable, polished, always ahead of the pack. But Wayne wasn't remembering her red carpet glow. He was thinking of satin sheets that smelled like bleach, and a woman who turned love into something clinical. At first, he was curious. She had that unshakable confidence, a mind sharper than most men he knew. That intrigued him. But once the doors closed, everything felt off. Joan didn't make love. She managed it, like a CEO overseeing a department. Wayne said he felt less like a partner and more like a staff member on a tight deadline. There was no room for mess, no laughter in the dark. She'd pause to adjust a pillowcase, rearrange the towels, wipe down surfaces that were already spotless. I wasn't in a bedroom, Wayne muttered. I was inside a surgical suite. And then came the control. She dictated everything: where to stand, what to do, when to move. She gave instructions like a director, except there was no warmth behind her camera. Wayne had always been the one in charge, a man who led with instinct. But with Joan, he felt boxed in, stripped of freedom. Even a kiss, he said, felt like it had been blocked, rehearsed, and signed off by a producer. There was no spark, just procedure. Even in her most intimate moments, Joan kept that steel armor on. He once tried to deviate from her routine, just to see what happened. She stopped immediately, adjusted her robe, and gave him a look so sharp it cut the moment in half. She wanted perfection, Wayne said. But what's the point of perfection if it feels like a damn job interview? She never relaxed, never let go. It was all too polished, too orchestrated. He missed imperfection, the kind that comes from real connection. Her kisses, cold. Her touch, precise. I felt like a fingerprint on her spotless world, he muttered. What bothered him most wasn't her discipline. It was the emptiness beneath it. Even when she was with you, her mind was racing elsewhere. Meetings, schedules, control. I wasn't a man to her, he said. I was a task. And that's what killed it. He drained the rest of his glass and shook his head. Joan Crawford will always be remembered as a star, he said. But in love, she was a housekeeper with a checklist, and no man ever thrived under a checklist. So, what do you think about these legendary actresses of the silver screen? Well, let us know. And if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon in the next one.